Hello, 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 hello. Continuation pa ito mga kabonet sa mga kababayan ng live, pero tuloy-tuloy na ito, no? Wala nang impacto na sisingit-singit dito. So, tuloy-tuloy na po natin to, ha? Tuloy-tuloy na po yan. Ito, dito tayo sa medyo nagkaroon ng konting tension. Konting tension lang naman. Konti lang naman. Papunta dito sa sinasabing substance informa. Tingnan natin.
Merong mga sworn affidavits, merong mga allegations na binitawan, merong usapin regarding betrayal of public trust, graft and corruption. Kagaya nga ng sinabi ni Congresswoman Renico, hindi dapat tayo matakot ungkatin ang katotohanan. At kagaya ng sinabi ng aking kaibigan, si Pastor Benny Abante, public office is a public trust. We should proceed with fairness and without fear. Bottom line, we have to be impartial. That's why I would like to raise this. In the light of serious allegations contained in a joint affidavit issued last February 23, that has been reportedly transmitted to the Office of the Ombudsman, there have been allegations that some members of Congress nakatanggap ng envelope, nakatanggap ng maleta.
Yan, envelope, maleta.
Ito'y naibigay, kung hindi sa opisina, sa townhouse. No, let me finish.
There's
You
a
will have
point
your
of
turn
order,
because
the
this has
Honorable
bearing.
Sutay.
This is not an allusion
Order.
to prejudge the veracity of the allegations.
Honorable Suntay, there is a point of order.
This is also a
and
point
that
of order,
enjoys the
Madam
highest
Chair.
hierarchy
Allah.
among all the motions.
Relevancy of this speech.
No,
Oh,
Madam Chair,
Allah.
this is very relevant because we are...
Please, Honorable Suntay, please wait until he finishes with his point of order.
Ayaw
The
nilang isingit
Honorable
yung
Terry Ridon is
tumanggap
recognized.
ng
Kindly
maleta.
use a microphone which is okay.
Yung
Madam
maleta,
Chair,
yung mga
the
envelope.
speech of our distinguished colleague is absolutely
Ayaw
relevant
nilang
to the
isingit.
question of sufficiency of form and substance in the matter. And more importantly, my understanding of what he's stating today is that he's probably accusing members of Congress, members of the House Committee on Justice, as receiving payments for the implementation of our mandate in the which is which, Madam Chair. So I think his speech is out of order and this should be decided promptly by the committee.
Madam
Okay,
Chair.
we heard the basis of the point of order of the Honorable Terry Ridon. Now we shall hear the answer of the Honorable Suntay.
Yes, Madam Chair. Ang problema sa
Kindly
kaibigan ko,
justify the relevance of your
He is
statement to the
jumping the
current
gun.
impeachment proceedings.
he is jumping the gun. This is actually relevant not only in the determination of form and substance. This is relevant in the impartiality, in determining the impartiality of this hearing, which is very important. Madam Chair, this is not an accusation. Kaya nga, kung hinintay lang ako patapusin, ewan ko, bakit naman yung aking kaibigan, naggagalaiti ka agad,
Oo.
na concern.
Gagalyaiti.
You know, if we have nothing to hear, then we just listen. If we are not being alluded, why are we so guilty? So let me finish.
Tama.
The issue here is not to prejudge the veracity of the allegation. However, given the gravity of the claims and the potential impact on the credibility of the committee's proceeding, ang
Allah.
gusto ko maging malinaw lang po, hindi ko hinuhusgahan yung aking mga kasamahan o ipagpalagay na totoo
Shoutout
ang mga
sa iyo,
aligasyon.
Surina. Thank you
Hindi
so
din po
much.
ito personal na laban sa sino man sa inyo.
Walang personalan.
Sa katunayan, ang layunin ko ay kabaligtaran upang protektahan.
Ayan, ito, ewan ko, nabanggit lang yan kasi nung 18, ex-marine ay gumawa ng affidavit na may allegation na tumanggap ang iilan, lalo na ang mga opisyales at yung mga nag-deliver ng mali-maleta. Parang siningit ni isang congressman dito sa deliberation sa impeachment ni Sara. Eh parang inobject ka agad, point of order daw, ayaw isingit. ah. Thank you sa like. Tuloy natin.
ng bawat isa sa inyo. Mabigyan kasi may listahan na nilalabas eh.
Anyway,
Ang gusto
nakikita
ko
na
po
pala yung
sa ganitong pagkakataon, Madam
comment
Chair,
nyo dyan.
naniniwala ako na mas mabuti na tayo mismo ang magharap at maglinaw ng issue.
Tama.
Kaya maging bulong, kaysa maging bulong-bulungan pa ito. Bigyan natin ng pagkakataon bawat membro ng committee. Pagkakataon mismo na mag-assess ng kanilang sitwasyon or if they can be an impartial member of this committee. Yun lang. Kung sa tingin nila they can be an impartial, then let's proceed. However, if they think that baka pagdudahan sila at pagdudahan yung lalabas dito na resulta, then let's allow them if they want to recuse. If...
Honorable Suntay, with all due respect, unless all your manifestations have complete relevance to the current impeachment proceedings, you're enjoined by the chair to proceeding to your manifestation.
That's why, Madam Chair.
So ordered.
Madam Chair, my point is just to...
Honorable Suntay, you are enjoined already by the chair to cease from making manifestations which are totally irrelevant to our current proceedings.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. But as I
Thank
mentioned,
you.
this goes to the impartiality of the committee.
You are
Thank you
assured
very
of the impartiality of the Justice Committee. Now we shall proceed to the determination of sufficiency in form. Thank you, Honorable Suntay.
Ay, mag-object dyan.
Suspended for 2
Mag-object
minutes
yung
to fix all the microphones.
Marcoleta. Ngiti-ngiti yung ngiti-ngitian dyan Anong ibig sabihin yan sa bagay. Alam ka, naiiyak-iyak naman. Good PM. Yan. Sana yung mga iba, si Porky, si Dep-Dep, nasaan po sila? Shout out, Dep-Dep. Porky, nasaan na po kayo? Si Rio, nasaan si Rio? Okay? So, ilan na ba yung viewers natin? Tuloy lang nag-usap-usap muna ang mga yan kasi ayaw sana ang mangyari dito, no? Kung natatandaan nyo, di ba yung kaya Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na diyan pa lang sa House of Representatives dinismiss na kasi sufficient in form, pero pagdating doon sa substance, insufficient yung evidence. Sana ganun din dito ang gagawin nila, no? Kung halimbawa aakyat pa sa Senado, baka sa Senado. Kasi ang main purpose naman talaga dito once na nagtuloy-tuloy ito, ang nakikita ko, nababasa ko, kasi siyempre siya yung isang malakas na tatakbo sa pagkapangulo sa 2028. Iyon yung pinaka-highlight na kapag umusad ito at namarkahan siya o kaya pasok siya doon sa disqualification, hindi na siya makakatakbo. So, yun yung pinaka pwedeng mangyari. No? So, papunta na sila dito sa determining saglit lang yun, by form. Yung mga pirma-pirma lang naman yung i-check nila dito wala pa sila doon sa mga evidence attachment. So sige, 20 Ayan.
Ano uling sa?
Oh, mag-object
The
ka.
meeting is resumed.
Congressman Marcoleta, object ka.
We will now proceed to the determination of sufficiency in form.
Madam
If the other
Chair.
members,
Madam
the
Chair.
Honorable Diaz-Guerin.
Madam Chair, prior to proceeding with the indulgence of the members of this committee, since the allegations were baseless and not contained in an affidavit,
Garin.
and this is the subject of an impeachment complaint totally unrelated to what was mentioned, may I move that the words and the allegations as contained for congressmen getting money in the office and being delivered in the townhouses be stricken off the records. So moved, Madam Chair.
There is a motion to strike off from the record the manifestation of the Honorable Suntay with respect to the money taken or received in relation to the
Basically, Madam Chair, the statements, the allegation mentioned by Congressman, or my good friend, my very good friend, Congressman Zuntay,
you are good friend to each other.
Very, Madam Chair.
Very much, Madam Chair. So,
There is a motion to strike off from the record the manifestation of the Honorable Suntay about the money taken or received allegedly by the members of the House. Is there a
Madam Chair.
second? The same has been seconded. Is
Madam
there
Chair.
any objection?
Madam Chair.
Are you-
Madam Chair, I have no objection considering it has been published.
The Honorable Marcoleta, are you objecting?
No, ma'am.
Oh.
In fact, I'm appealing
Manifestation.
Let us resolve first the
to
motion.
reinstate the...
Oh,
So
huwag
you
nyo
are
tanggalin
objecting?
yun.
No,
Huwag
I'm appealing
tanggalin
to
daw.
reinstate the
Reinstate.
remarks earlier made by...
The motion
Honorable
is
Suntay.
still pending. It's not yet resolved. If there are no objection, then the chair approves the motions to strike off from the record the
Strike
manifestation
one.
about the money allegedly received by the House members from the manifestation of the Honorable Suntay. So ruled.
Oh,
Honorable Marcoleta.
shoutout po sa mga
Madam
viewers
Chair,
natin dyan.
I'd like to appeal. I think the remarks earlier made by Honorable
Is that a
Suntay-
motion for reconsideration?
It's more of a manifestation.
Okay, please manifest.
Opo. The earlier remarks made by Honorable Suntay is an appeal for objectivity, impartiality,
Oh,
insofar as the
objectivity, ah.
proceedings of the Justice Committee is concerned. Ang binanggit po niya, if we will, no offense to the most of the members of the Justice Committee, there are 25 House members named in the affidavit of the 18 ex-Marines, 25 names, which comprise around one-third of the membership of the Justice Committee here, all present.
The Honorable Marcoleta is likewise reminded to confine the
Oh.
manifestation to the
Hala.
relevancy of the current impeachment
I
proceeding.
think it's very germane, ma'am, because it boils down to the objectivity and impartiality of
Shoutout.
the members.
Honorable Marcoleta, we have not reached even the determination of sufficiency in form.
Baka ma-point
And the
of
chair has
order
stated
ka,
already
Senator
that
Marcoleta.
The Justice Committee is assured of the impartiality of the chair, including all the members. I think that is premature for us to discuss
Ay,
on
hindi
the
pala,
partiality
Congressman.
when we
Ito yung
haven't
mas
heard
bata.
any of this impeachment
Correct,
complaint.
may,
So unless the
pronouncement.
manifestation has relevance to the current impeachment
Congressman.
proceeding, the Honorable Marcoleta is requested to cease from making manifestation outside the subject matter of this impeachment proceeding.
Madam Chair, with due respect to the 25 members who were mentioned in the affidavit,
Honorable Marcoleta, you are reminded by the chair already to confine to the subject matter of this impeachment proceeding. If you continue to make a manifestation outside the subject matter, we will be ruling you out of order. With all due respect, Honorable Marcoleta.
I submit to the wisdom of the chair.
Thank you. We shall now proceed to the determination of sufficiency in form. For the guidance of all the members, in determining sufficiency in form, we will be dealing with the following questions. Number 1, whether the impeachment complaint was signed. Number 2, whether the impeachment complaint was properly verified. Number 3, whether there was a proper endorsement by a legitimate incumbent member of the House in cases filed by citizens. Number 4, whether it was included in the order of business within 10 session days and referred to the proper committee within 3 session days. Number 5, whether the impeachment complaint is compliant with procedural formatting and jurisdictional requirements. And last, whether the impeachment complaint complies with the one-year bar rule. We will be holding our deliberation, one impeachment complaint after the other, beginning with Castro et al. Impeachment complaint, followed by Father Saballa et al. Impeachment complaint, and finally by Cabrera impeachment complaint. After all the deliberations are concluded, the justice members will be proceeding to vote again one after the other impeachment complaints.
Madam
To
Chair,
begin with,
Madam Chair,
I was about to call you Honorable Tino. What is the pleasure of the Honorable Tino?
no, a parliamentary inquiry based on the pronouncement of the chair as to the scope of determination of sufficiency in form. In our rules, malinaw po, a verified complaint for impeachment by a member of the House or by any citizen upon a resolution of endorsement by any member hereof shall be filed with the office of the Secretary General and immediately referred to the Speaker. An impeachment complaint is verified by an affidavit that the complainant has read the complaint and that the allegations therein are true and correct of his personal knowledge or based on authentic records. So those are the parameters for determining sufficiency in form. My concern, Madam Chair, is that the Chair mentioned additional matters such as, for example, whether or not the filing of the complaint complies with the one-year bar. Wala naman po sa explicit rules on impeachment yon. And in fact, let me note that the one-year bar applies to an impeachment proceeding, not the filing of a complaint, but the initiation of an impeachment proceeding. No, kaya po nagtataka lang po tayo bakit nadagdagan po ng mga kailangang i-determine ng committee ito at this point when the rules are very clear. We only have to deliberate whether or not the complaints are verified and whether endorsed by a member of the House, Madam Chair.
Before the Honorable Flores respond to the manifestation of the Honorable Tino, we would like to recognize the Honorable Micah Gonzalez, Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Ana York P. Bondoc from the 4th District of Pampanga, and the Honorable Ramon Rodrigo L. Gutierrez from the One Rider Party List. The Honorable Flores is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, tama naman po yung sinabi ni Congressman Tino, no, na hindi siya specifically mentioned yung timeliness. But I think it should be part of the consideration in determining form, Madam Chair, kung timely nga ba yung pag-file ng isang impeachment complaint. Because it would be useless for us to consider any impeachment complaint that was filed within the one-year bar period, Madam Chair. And I think it is important that we determine it together with the other formal requirements of the impeachment complaint na dapat nga may, kung ako nga lang ang masunod, dapat part of the verification should include a statement that this complaint was filed na outside of the one-year bar rule if there is any. Because it would be, again, useless for us to determine the validity of the form if we know for a fact that it was filed well within the one-year bar rule, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
All right? The Honorable Tino.
Madam Chair, if I may, the Constitution itself says, with respect to this one-year bar, that no impeachment proceedings shall be initiated against the same official more than once within a period of 1 year. So it speaks of initiation of impeachment proceedings within 1 year being barred. No? Proceedings. Hindi po sinabing filing of complaint. And it is very clear in our own rules and in jurisprudence that an impeachment proceeding is initiated not by the filing of a complaint, but by referral of plenary of the complaints to the Committee on Justice. Hindi po ba malinaw yun, Madam Chair? So, kaya po, tingin ko, bakit po ginagawang issue ang hindi naman issue? The Constitution, yan po ang pinakamataas, no? Nagsasabi, ang barred for 1 year is the initiation of an impeachment proceeding, not the filing of a complaint. The filing of a complaint does not initiate a procedure. So, Madam Chair, please enlighten this representative kasi nga lumalagpas po tayo sa konstitusyon, no? Sa nais niyong pag-include ng timeliness of filing. Wala naman pong ganong rules, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Flores is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the Supreme Court in its decision noong July
Shout out sa
25,
mga-
2025 clearly said that no new impeachment complaints, if any, may only be commenced no earlier than February 6 of 2026. That was clearly stated by the decision of the Supreme Court in July 2025. And while it may not have been stated, as correctly pointed out again by Congressman Tino, na ito lang yung sinabi ng Constitution natin, but in interpreting that provision of the Constitution, the Supreme Court came out with this decision that no new complaints may be commenced no earlier than February 6 of 2026. And it is silent on this point on its resolution of the motion for reconsideration noong January 2026 po. Madam Chair.
Madam
The
Chair.
Honorable Ridon,
Madam Chair.
and then the Honorable Chua, and then the
Four.
Honorable Padiernos, and then the Honorable Suntay.
More viewers to
Honorable
you.
Ridon
And
first.
then Madam Chair.
Well, before proceeding further, Madam Chair, I think what the endorsers wanted to do is to reframe the matter, no? That we should not discuss it as part of sufficiency in form. But, and if this is not the situation that they want to find themselves in, I think we have to discuss it as a threshold question. And whether or not their filing is actually barred based on the Supreme Court decision and all other relevant constitutional provisions and rules of impeachment proceedings, no? So is that the pleasure of the endorsers, Madam Chair? To
May
determine this as
we
a-
request the Honorable Tino to confirm whether your concern is only to consider the compliance to one-year bar rule as a preliminary matter instead of including that in the determination of sufficiency in form?
My
3.
position, Madam Chair, is that the question of timely is not relevant at all to these proceedings because the initiation of the impeachment proceeding is well after the so-called one-year bar.
Nonetheless,
Based not on the original decision of Duterte versus House of Representatives, but on the ruling on the motion for reconsideration, no? So, and Madam Chair, perhaps I will.
just for clarity, Honorable Tino, would you
Madam
like
Chair.
to discuss the one-year
Madi-
prohibition period prior to our determination of
Mababasura
sufficiency
din
in form?
ito.
Is that your pleasure?
Sabi ko nga,
Sige lang,
Madam Chair,
hindi magtutuloy ito.
Na-anticipate ko na merong
Pero alam nila, parang
tulad
hindi
sa
pa nagaganap eh.
yumaong
Alam na nila yung
si
mangyayari
Congressman
eh.
Edsel Lagman, and they will raise a
Bakit ko
prejudicial
nasabi? Dahil
question
noong
before-
pinag-usapan, after ng
before,
1 year, magpapile ulit
the
sila.
actual deliberation on
Ito, nagpile ulit sila at didinig,
I do not.
uusad,
I'm not,
imbestigahan.
So what is the pleasure of
Moving
the
for that.
Honorable Tino?
Okay.
Mm.
I am merely actually, okay, if I may,
Because
I
that
would
is-
like to raise a point of order. Therefore, that
Kita niyo na walang gustong manood sa mga pagmumukha
deliberations
nitong mga
on so-called
politikong
timeliness of
sinungaling.
filing is not within the scope of this stage of the impeachment proceedings. No, because we are, as the chair mentioned herself, in the
Ayan na
period
nga
of
eh,
determination of
ngiti-ngiti eh.
sufficiency in
Oo nga
form.
eh.
And as our rules very clearly state,
Ngiti-ngiti eh. Pero
that
sigurado
consists
aabot
of
ito sa ano,
determining whether or not there is a verified
sufficient in
complaint
form
and whether or not this is
at
duly
palabasin
endorsed
pa nilang
by a
aabot
member of
What
na
actually is the point of order of the
sufficient in
Honorable
substance.
Is it your intention that
No? Pero
to
once na
actually set
makarating
aside
sa
the discussion
Senado,
of one-year bar rule
doon
in relation to your complaint?
siguradong
Yes,
mas
Madam
marami
Chair.
ang boboto
Madam Chair.
ng hindi na
The Honorable
itutuloy.
Chua first and then the Honorable
Kasi di
Shaw.
ba
Yeah, if I
sa
remember
Senado
it
ang
correctly, the Honorable
maging
Tino
presiding
manifested
judge
a
dyan.
while ago that he wanted to be clarified with respect to the word initiated.
Mahina yata ang internet natin. Ay.
Tama po ba?
Okay, pero excellent naman dito. Ayun,
Yes,
nandito
now,
si
let me-
Porky. Oh, shout out sa iyo,
Let
Porky.
me just clarify.
Kanina inaantay kita kanina,
Through
no?
the case of Supreme Francis Representative on case
Like
states
Dan, oh,
that the
salamat.
impeachment proceeding are initiated upon filing of the complaint
Ayun, gandang hapon sa iyo, Dep. Ano kayang
and
mangyayari
or
dito?
resolution and its referral
Magtutuloy
to
kaya
the
ito?
committee. Therefore, there are two acts that should be followed. First, the filing of the complaint. That's why the filing of the complaint is also
Ayan, oh,
necessary
kita yung
because that
mga,
will
ayan, oh,
determine
ayan, ganda, oh.
the one-year bar rule. That is included in the determination of the
Harang,
one-year bar
oo.
rule. Now, as already manifested a while ago, already expounded or explained by the Honorable Vice Chair Flores, that in the first decision of the Supreme Court,
Yeah,
it
please like and
stated
share. Dep, shout out
expressly
sa iyo, Surina.
that no
Shout out sa iyo,
impeachment complaint should be filed earlier
Ayan,
than
nakikita na
February
yung
6.
mga ano niyan dyan sa
And
screen.
in the second decision, there is no such express statement from
Hindi
the
kaya
Supreme
drama-drama na
There
naman
is
itong
this so-called,
mga mangyayaring to.
statutory construction
Sabihin nating
between
trabaho
two
nila,
conflicting
ginagawa
laws,
nila yung
one express and the other one implied.
trabaho
The
nila,
express
pero
should follow. Now,
sige,
having
makinig
said
muna
that,
tayo.
Your Honor, I believe that it is mandatory and it is necessary that we should first determine if this is filed within the one-year bar rule. Why? Otherwise, this will all be inutile,
inutil.
useless. If eventually, this will again be used
Maging
in the court to question the legality and constitutionality of this first impeachment complaint. Thank you, Madam
Honorable
Chair.
Chua,
Madam
is
Chair.
it
Madam
your
Chair.
intention to
Object.
hear the discussion on one-year compliance prior to the determination of sufficiency in form?
Yes, Madam
Would
Chair.
you like to raise a motion to that effect?
Yes, I would like to move that we discuss the
Ayan,
one-year
gandang
bar
gabi sa'yo,
rule
baby
prior
boy.
to the determination of form and substance, Madam
There is a
Chair.
motion to discuss compliance to one-year prohibition period before we proceed to the determination of sufficiency in substance. Do I hear a second? Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. We shall now open the discussion as to the compliance to one-year prohibition, but in doing so, we will do it one complaint after the other. To start with, we are calling the endorsers of the first impeachment complaint to manifest their position with regards to their compliance to the one-year prohibition period. A quick manifestation only, because I understand that you have made ample discussions already on that in your sponsorship.
Shout out sa iyo,
speech. The
Leo,
Honorable Voice
Subina,
recognized.
baby
Madam
boy.
Chair.
Shout out po sa inyo.
Although, Madam
Thank
Chair,
you,
I'd
thank
like
you.
to clarify that in our sponsorship speeches, we have not yet taken into consideration the one-year bar rule. So I'd like to manifest.
Ayan,
and
thank you,
be
thank you,
able
thank
to
you.
provide some opportunity to explain po.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, it is the position of this representation that the first impeachment complaint, Castro et al., by the representatives herein, respect the law that has been provided already. it is in full compliance with the Constitution and is not within and is not violative of the period of the 1-year bar. No, I'd like to walk through the different rules and proceedings that are applicable. Firstly, the Constitution provides the overarching framework. Article 11, Section 3, subsection 2 provides that a verified complaint for impeachment may be filed by a citizen upon a resolution or endorsement, and it shall be included in the order of business within 10 session days and referred to the proper committee within 3 session days thereafter. Gusto ko lang din i-point out that Article 6, Section 16, subsection 3 generally provides then the framework that each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, including the House of Representatives. That's why po may House rules tayo, may specific rules tayo on impeachment proceedings na sinusunod po natin ngayon. To supplement, Francisco versus House of Representatives provide. It says that the initiation takes place by the act of filing and referral or endorsement of the impeachment complaint to the House Committee on Justice, etc. So, also in response to the argument by the Honorable Representative Joel Chua earlier, which says that there are 2 acts, filing and referral, that's true. Pero kung titignan din naman natin sa praktikalidad, titignan natin yung date, ano ba yung material date dito, it is the referral. Dito po, here and in other instances, tinitignan kung kailan po nagkaroon ng pagsisimula ng 1-year bar period. And so according to Francisco, sa pag-alam kung kailan magsisimula ang 1-year bar, the pertinent date is referral date. Dinigdagan naman po ito ng Duterte versus House of Representatives just this January 2026. Nire-affirm niya ang Francisco versus House of Representatives and ruled further. Meron pong 2 other instances kung saan may for the purposes of initiation of the 1-year bar, kinonsider. Yung una, yung discuss na sa Francisco, yung referral to the Committee on Justice. And I am quoting here the 4th point of Duterte versus House of Representatives of 2026. This is in pages 4 and 40. Number 1, referral to the Committee on Justice. Number 2, it is properly verified and endorsed by a member, and it is not put in the order of business or referred to the proper committee within the constitutional periods. Number 3, properly verified and endorsed siya or properly referred to the committee but has not been acted upon by the House upon its adjournment sine die. So, kung may filing na pero hindi nasunod ang constitutional dates na dapat nasa order of business na within 10 session days o Page 30 provides that the respondent house had until January 14, 2025 to include the complaints in the order of business and until January 21 to refer to the proper committee. I'm talking about po yung naging 19th Congress impeachment proceedings. Kung nalagay po ito sa order of business noong January 13 or 14, yun po yung limit, hindi po sana matitrigger yung B kasi magiging proper yung referral. Pero hindi ito nangyari. Nangyari lang po ito noong February 5, 2025. Kaya starting January 15, 2025, batay sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema sa Duterte versus House of Representatives, naging non-compliant with the constitutional periods ang impeachment proceedings, thus triggering the 1-year bar rule. Dahil po dito, Madam Chair, na-observe natin itong 1-year bar period. And then, February 2, 2026, final ang Castro et al. Complaint, 1 year and 18 days after January 14, 2025. Now, ang 10th session day matapos ang filing ng impeachment, first impeachment noong December 2, 2024. So therefore, hindi po ito barred. Nirefer naman ang mga impeachment complaints na ito on February 23, 1 year and 27 days after January 14, well beyond at lagpas-lagpas na sa period of the 1-year bar. It also bears mentioning na pasok ito sa constitutional periods. The first filing was on February 2, and 8 session days after, on February 23, pinasok ito sa order of business at nirefer sa House Committee on Justice. And also, responding to the earlier argument that they may specific citing of a date in the Duterte versus House of Representatives 2025 decision, and then na silent po ito sa 2026 decision. If we look at kung ano yung nakalagay po doon sa pag-rationalize ng court, ano na yung bagong impeachment ano na yung bagong rules no sa bar na i-observe or sa period ng 1-year bar, no, ito po ay overturned. So I'd like to emphasize, no, we are in the ambit of essentially letter A of Duterte versus House of Representatives now. No, and yung filing po ng 19th Congress falls under letter B, no? And ang pertinent date po doon is yung start na hindi po nasunod yung constitutional period of the order of business sa pagpasok ng order of business, which is on January 14. And therefore, since na-file po ito on February 2 and na-refer to the Committee on Justice, napasok dun sa order of business, itong impeachment proceedings on February 23. Now, this is all beyond the 1-year bar period. And I'd like to make a last manifestation, Madam Chair. No? Baka isipin ng napakarami ng mga teknikalidad lang tong mga to. For us, no, these aren't mere technicalities. This discussion is political in the most fundamental sense of the word. It goes into the heart not only of the impeachment process, but the balance of powers this republic is built upon. It will determine how the legislative branch will stand on its authority as a separate branch of power now and in the future whenever this can come into
Shout out
question.
sa'yo, Budol!
Kapag tayo,
Shout
nakita
out
naman
sa'yo
natin at
ang
tumitindig
bugas
tayo
na.
that this is
Ah?
all initiated.
Katatanim
the proceedings
lang,
are
ani
conducted
agad.
well
Shout out
beyond
po sa
the
inyo.
1-year bar period.
Teka, mag-shoutout muna tayo. Ano kaya sa palagay nyo mga kabonets, mga kababayan, ito kayang impeachment na ito ay matulad kaya doon kay PBBM? Alam niyo ba yung nangyari kay PBBM? Na hindi ko alam kung ito ay isang drama lang or isang pakana lang, kasi yung mga naghain tapos yung iba hindi tinanggap, pero yung iba tinanggap tapos binasura kaagad. Kasi sufficient informed, pagdating sa ebidensya, wala daw ebidensya, insufficient. So ang nangyari ay binasura. Pero dito, ganun din kaya ang mangyayari, no? Ayun, nakikinig lang habang may ginagawa. Tama po 'yan, no? Salamat sa support kay Budol. Dep, katatanim lang. Ayun, maraming salamat. Andito din si Leo. Di ba? Okay, tuloy natin. Ano kayang mangyayari dito? Ngayon, sigurado dito, substance in form. Pero di lang natin alam yung sa evidence kung meron silang ilalagay na mga ebidensya.
No, hindi po dapat tayo matakot sa any form no of suit na maaaring i-file against the House of Representatives. Dahil tayo ay nag-comply naman sa mga rules and regulations, hindi lang po na sinet dito sa House, but also under the Constitution. That's all, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. I understand that the position of the endorser, Honorable Ko, is very comprehensive. So, may I manifest that the same is adopted already as the position of the two other endorsers. No?
Madam Chair.
At this juncture, we would
Madam
like to
Chair.
recognize Honorable Chua and then Honorable Rodriguez and then
Madam Chair.
Honorable Sunta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick manifestation, Madam Chair. Hindi naman po tayo natatakot. We would just like to exercise circumspection. So lamang po natin mag-ingat. Lest, ganun na naman po mangyayari. After what happened in the last impeachment complaint, baka mamaya, wala na naman po mangyari dito by sheer technicality. Now, having said that, Madam Chair, when we interpret the decision of the Supreme Court in Francisco, we should interpret it as a whole by including the filing. Hindi naman po sinabi dito na or eh. Ang sinasabi dito, filing and referral. So when ibig sabihin po nyon, one, hindi po natin po pwedeng i-consider yung isa nang wala po yung isa. So dapat po yan, pag kinukonsider po ninyo, para po yung kambal. Lagi po yung magkasama. Yun lamang po, Madam Chair. Thank you po.
Thank you. Next is the Honorable Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Erice will be called after the Honorable Flores. Honorable Flores is number 6. But before we proceed, just for the guidance of everyone, the first impeachment complaint was filed on February. That is prior to the February 6 allowable date of filing as expressly pronounced in the decision of the Supreme Court dated July 25, 2025. The issue, therefore, which we are deliberating upon is whether or not the first impeachment complaint is in compliance with the one-year prohibition period. The Honorable Rodriguez, you may proceed.
Madam Chair, the four pertinent dates on the impeachment complaint in 2025 is first, February 2, the first impeachment complaint. December 2. Next, December 4. Next, December 19. Supreme Court decides February 6. However, Madam Chair, in that motion for reconsiderations which we have read, clearly that particular February 6 had been modified because a later decision like an MR will therefore be able to amend and repeal whatever has been stated if it's in conflict with the recent decision. And that is the motion for reconsideration. And therefore, in this case, having read the decision and stated by the Honorable Reneco, that there was a problem in the 19th Congress because there was no referral and the following of the constitutional provisions and the cases and the case of Francisco versus House of Representatives. And so therefore, in that particular case, the Supreme Court in fact said that the impeachment, the dates that are in the Constitution should not be session days, but calendar days. Well, in that case, Madam Chair, it is also an overreach. Because by December 19, we're having a break. So we are right, the leadership is right now, considering that we should only count session days. We will not be calendar. Otherwise, if that was the case, then we will therefore there's no more chance to be able to refer that. But the situation is, I may not agree with January 15, but if you will compute when you resume, considering that there will be 10 days, then the period will end in the last week of January if we count on calendar, on session days. Therefore, the filing on February 2 is within the time after the one-year bar. So it has elapsed either February 15 or January 30. February 2 is therefore a correct timing to file the decision, to file the complaint. Therefore, on the issue of threshold, Congressman Ridon is correct. This is a threshold issue because the Constitution and the jurisprudence on Francisco is written in our rules because that is the Constitution, the highest fundamental law of the land and the highest court. And so therefore, Madam Chair, clearly the February 2 filing is within the constitutional provisions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Next in line is the Honorable Suntay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I would like to agree with the esteemed colleagues, Congressman Chua and our Vice Chair, Congressman Flores. Initiation and commencement are two distinct things. An impeachment complaint is commenced by the filing of the complaint. Kung wala yung complaint, there is nothing to commence. Under the ruling of Francisco, initiation is a two-step process. First, the filing, and then the referral to the Committee on Justice. The 2025 decision was very clear. No impeachment proceeding may be commenced. Commenced yung ginamit na salita, hindi initiated. So, what is commenced? As I mentioned earlier, the filing of a complaint commences the impeachment proceeding. So, very clear then that no impeachment proceeding may be commenced prior to Feb 6. Meaning to say, yung Feb 2 was clearly filed out of within the 1-year bar period. Now, assuming na hindi natin kinukonsider yung 26. Kasi alam mo, yung 25 ruling was very specific. Yung 26 ruling was silent on this matter. So, as we all know, ang controlling dyan is yung specific. If there was a specific date na binigay. Now, assuming na yung initiation yung pinagbabasihan natin, shouldn't the two-step process also be within outside the 1-year period? Kasi ang mangyayari, para bang manananggal yan, yung initiation, yung filing ng complaint, pasok sa 1 year, pero yung referral, labas sa 1 year. So, ano yung magiging decision? I agree with Congressman Chua, hindi naman natin dinidiscount na maaaring sufficient in form, pero dapat pag-usapan kasi baka masayang. Baka later on, itatakbo sa Supreme Court, at sasabihin sa Supreme Court, barred yan eh. Then everything that we're doing here would be for naught. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next is the Honorable Suwan.
Madam Chair, I agree with the position of Congressman Bong Suntay because the Supreme Court in its decision on July 25, 2025 was very clear. It held that no new impeachment complaint against the respondent, if any, may be commenced. The word was commenced no earlier than February 6. The Supreme did not speak casually. It was construing Article 11, Section 3, subsection 5, which provides in unmistakable language, no impeachment proceedings shall be initiated against the same official more than once within a period of 1 year. So, if a complaint was filed on February 2, 2026, 4 days prior to February 6, 2026, then we must confront a fundamental question. Are we within the constitutional window? Because, Madam Chair, if we are not, then this committee risks proceeding without constitutional footing. Madam Chair, it is important to answer this question because the 1-year bar was deliberately placed by the framers to prevent impeachment from becoming a weapon of constant political siege. In fact, it exists to protect the stability of governance regardless of who occupies the office. The 1-year prohibition, therefore, is a constitutional shield, not a technical obstacle. Madam Chair, this is not about shielding any individual from accountability. It is about ensuring that when accountability is pursued, it is done within the exact bounds of the Constitution.
Thank you, Honorable Suwan. Next is the Honorable Ridon.
Madam Chair, I think we need to restate.
Is your position?
No, we have to restate what had been said by the Supreme Court in the resolution itself, in Duterte versus House of Representatives, and I will quote it. Fourth, complaints based on the first mode or Article 11, Section 3(2) is deemed to have been initiated for purposes of the 1-year bar under Section 3(5) when A, it is referred to the Committee on Justice, B, it is properly verified and endorsed by a member of the House of Representatives, and it is not put in the order of business or referred to the proper committee within the constitutional periods, and C, it is properly verified and endorsed, or it has been properly referred to the proper committee but has not been acted upon its adjournment sine die. It needs to be stated, Madam Chair, that the first impeachment complaint against the Vice President was filed on 2 February 2026 and was just transmitted to the Office of the Speaker on Feb 5, 2026 without referral to the Committee on Justice yet. The referral to the committee was done on 23 Feb 2026. And As such, the first impeachment complaint against the Vice President should not technically be precluded by the one-year bar, as it was filed only prior to 6 Feb 2026 and not initiated prior thereto. And more importantly, an argument may be made that because of the Supreme Court resolution, the amendment of the definition of the term session days had basically redefined the periods for initiation, Madam Chair. But frankly, the committee will have to contend with the question on what the Supreme Court decision actually stated expressly, which was no impeachment complaints may be referred on Feb 6, 2026. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next is the Honorable Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, again, i-emphasize ko lang po ito, no, na sa decision ng Supreme Court noong July of 2025, it mentioned the date 3 times. First, on the adjudicative rulings on page 6. Second, in the summary on page 94 of the decision. And third, in the dispositive portion on page 95 of the decision. So klaro po na sinabi nila na walang pwede makommense prior to February 6 of 2026, Madam Chair. So, while it may be implied, because nga sa resolution is iba din yung computation nila sa session days, pero obvious naman po in rules of statutory construction na what is implied is cannot overturn what is expressed. So sabi na is what is expressed puts an end to what is implied. Or a person, object, or thing omitted must have been omitted intentionally. Kasi walang mention po ito sa resolution ng motion for reconsideration, Madam Chair. So with that, Madam Chair, I move that we set aside the first complaint because it was filed prior to the lapse of the one-year bar rule, Madam Chair. I so move.
I object.
I object.
Before we act on the motion and on your objection, Honorable Erice would like to manifest as well.
Yes, Madam Chair. It's kind of tricky because in the Constitution, the initiation is a process when you file it and then the Speaker refer it to the Committee on Justice. That's the Constitution. Kailangan pong ma-refer sa Committee on Justice. Yan po yung initiation. At meron pong ruling ang Supreme Court na February 6. Maliwanag din po yun. Pero may nakikita po akong malaking problema. Sapagkat kung may one-year bar rule, at naniniwala tayo na February 6 ang one-year bar ang dapat na sunding petsa, bakit tinanggap yung complaint ng Office of the Secretary General? At bakit ito ni-refer ng Speaker sa Committee on Justice? Ibig po bang sabihin, in the next few days, pwedeng mag-file ng complaint every day for the next 300 days? Tatanggapin pa rin ng Office of the Secretary General at i-refer pa rin ng Speaker sa Committee on Justice at ang Committee on Justice ang magde-decide whether the complaint is within the one-year bar rule. Yan po yung tricky question na dapat siguro nating pag-isipan.
Let us be reminded that the duty of the Office of the Secretary General to receive the impeachment complaint is ministerial. They cannot actually refuse to accept impeachment complaints which are being filed. And that is why it is incumbent upon us, the Justice Committee, to dispose of the issue of whether or not the impeachment complaints were filed, whether in compliance or in violation of the one-year prohibition period. The same is true with respect to the duty of the Office of the Speaker to include the same in the order of business within the period of 10 session days from the date of transmittal. And the same is true as well with respect to the plenary in referring the same to the Justice Committee. Honorable Erice.
Meaning, Madam Chair, that anyone can file a complaint every day in the next 300 days. And it will be accepted by the Office of the Secretary General and it will be referred to the Committee on Justice by the Speaker. That will be the rule now.
Yes, Honorable Erice.
Thank you.
And we are in the best position actually to address this issue of whether or not there is a violation or there is a compliance with the 1-year prohibition period. Before I call you Honorable Tino, next in line is the Honorable De Lima. We are reminding the Justice members that there's a pending motion already raised by the Honorable Flores. The same has been seconded. We will just be finishing those who raised their hands for the manifestation. And I believe that Honorable De Lima is the last in this line.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I objected to the motion. This representation objected to the motion, and I'm compelled to also share my thoughts and share my views on this matter, considering that if we are to apply the contention of some of our members here about questioning the timeliness that is still barred within the 1-year bar rule, the filing of the first, and that also included the filing of the second, which was subsequently withdrawn. And as an endorser of the second complaint, I've always taken the position that the filing on February 2 was timely. It's within the constitutional deadlines, and it did not violate the 1-year bar rule. So, since ang pinagtatalunan po natin dito, kailan ba talaga? Is it February 6? Kasi sa una kasi, in the January 26 decision, it says, the earlier July 2025 rulings point of record from February 6, it has to be on February 6. Yun po ang nakasabi explicitly doon sa first or sa main decision. But did the January 28, 26 decision move the 1-year bar? My position is yes, in effect. It may not have been as explicitly stated in the discussion about the 1-year bar rule, but it is clear to me na ganun po ang epekto. Bakit ho? Iniba ho kasi nila yung interpretation ng session days. Whereas before, it was supposed to follow our legislative interpretation, not necessarily calendar days, kundi yung kung kailan talaga yung kailan yung adjournment nung certain session, and then it will be resumed again in another new session day. So it does not necessarily cover or involve a calendar day. But in the February 28, 2026 resolution denying the MR, naiba na po. So dahil nga dun sa iniba nila yung definition ng session days as calendar days when the House is actually in session, the Supreme Court in effect or actually recalibrated the point at which the 1-year clock begins. So under the definition, the earlier July 2025 rulings point of reckoning shifts from February 6 to January 21. Bakit ho January 21? Kasi ito po yung referral to the committee. The filing was earlier. If I'm not mistaken, was it January 14? No, January 14 is the inclusion in the order of business. But the referral was in January 21. So, by counting session days as calendar days when the House is in session, the 1-year bar rule, or the 1-year bar would expire by January 21. Therefore, the earliest that a new impeachment complaint against VP Sara Duterte can be filed with the House is January 21, 2026. Hindi po kasalanan ng mga complainants na they relied on the latest redefinition, reinterpretation by the Supreme Court, which was also made the basis of denying the motion for reconsideration. It would be fundamentally unfair na kung ang i-apply pa rin natin, ang i-insist pa rin natin is the original date of February 6. It has been moved because it's the Supreme Court itself that recalibrated everything about the definition of session days. Napaaga yung reckoning point. So why fault the complainants by saying that it's now violative of the one-year bar rule when that is not their definition initially? But they had to follow. They followed the court. They complied with the constitutional timeline as interpreted by the court. They acted in good faith, definitely. Walang masama sa pagsunod sa pinakahuling interpretasyon or interpretative ruling o doktrina ng Korte Suprema. So I agree with both the Honorable Representative Rufus Rodriguez and also the Honorable Representative Teddy Ridon that it should not be January 6, but the earlier date as a result, a necessary consequence of the Supreme Court's redefinition and recalibration of what the session days actually mean. We may not agree. I myself do not agree. But we have to follow that because that is the latest interpretative ruling. As I said, it would be fundamentally unfair for the complainants of the first. Kung nandito pa nga po yung second complaint, kung hindi pa na-withdraw, I will still be taking that position. Maraming salamat po.
Okay,
Chair.
our parliamentary
Madam Chair.
status is there is a motion to set aside the first impeachment complaint in view of the violation of the one-year prohibition period. And we have expressed our positions on the matter.
Madam Chair.
Meantime, we will be suspending for 2 minutes.
Sorry. Na-standby, no? Na-standby. Wait, ano natin, no? Wala na yata, no? Oh, wala na. Natapos na pala to. Okay, natapos na pala. So, maraming salamat po sa... Ayun, maraming salamat. Tignan natin yung mga iba, no? Managot ang dapat managot. Okay. Off muna natin. Tapos mag-relive ulit ako. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.